Welcome back everybody, it's DestinysJesus here. In this video, I'm going to be setting myself the challenge of playing solo rages for 5 hours long and seeing how much I can make from actually playing them. I'm also going to be covering my 5 best tips for solo wages and how to actually start earning money consistently through playing them. I lost the 10 right now.
Well, I've been shot first there, actually. That is quite fun. Oh, off.
If you're interested in going ahead and signing up and doing these rages yourself, and you think you've got the good enough mechanics to go ahead and actually win them, go ahead and click the first link in the description. It will give you a 10% bonus fee whenever you deposit money to go ahead and wager. And I genuinely do think these are one of the best ways that you can improve your mechanics in solos especially, and they are really competitive since there's money on the line.
Prediction, FM?
DestinysJesus coincide.
2v, like, whatever you call it, mate, you know. Oh.
At least I know. It's because I PG you before, I know what you do.
Ah, because I'm the best PG player in the
No,
world.
I beg it. You're a millionaire, you're begging out of this. Right.
I need to pop my big, you tramp. Yeah, bro, you're begging it like this, yeah, bro. Yeah, bro, I'm begging it. Look at the way you're playing. Guys, remember, spray him so we can't get his heels off. Give it a rest, DJ.
No, he's disengaging. The bastard.
I'm dead.
He's at a tumble! No! Come up.
Exactly.
Matique!
Look at him go. Right, guys, DJ scared. Oh, ping! Ping!
You're getting No! Matique dead!
No, rematch.
So the first bit of advice when it comes to solo wages is always looking at your loadout before the game starts. Don't let your opponent know what you have, and then keep your gun a secret. You can use whatever you have to your advantage as you start the wager. So right here I've got a purple charge. I know my opponent's got attack, so I'm going to be trying to play really ranged angles, wait for long peaks, and oftentimes with a charge versus attack, you can just play for high ground, trying to get some free damage. You never want to commit into a box 50-50, same as any kind of solo arena gameplay. Never want to commit into a box 50-50. You can just play instead long angles with your charge and try to get damage in, and then go for the fight. Always make sure you look what your opponent's got. Also be very cautious if they've got dragon stuff, which is probably the best thing for wagers. Make sure you look at what they've got when the fight starts. So again, as the round is finished and you go into the next fight, just look what your opponent's got off spawn. Don't reveal what you've got, so just keep out your pickaxe as you sort out your guns. Look what shotgun they've gone. There I can see exactly what gun he's got, so I'm going to play this fight a little bit differently, depending on what I've got. You can't play every single fight the exact same, mainly because your opponent will beat you if you play your angles differently, depending on your guns. Now the next initial tip is to make sure that you try to take kite off spawn. This gives you so much advantages, especially if you can manage to do it while maintaining a lot of mats, and that's our second tip. If you have more mats than your opponent in these rematch fights, you'll most of the time win unless you just go into a bad trade and then you've got worse heroes. Always try to conserve as many mats, which is tip 3, and then also try to keep high and maintain it so you can get free damage shots off basically TF classics from above, just get little bits of free damage. Our tip 4 for rematch wagers and just getting better at them in general is to understand what heals you have and what heals your opponent has. Easiest way to do this is whenever you get damage, and just depending on how much damage you get, what heals your opponents use. Most of the time, your opponents will still either like 2 choke splashes, 1 flopper, 2 floppers, slurp fish. If you can keep track of what they have and how much they have, you can play it or fights depending based on that. Obviously, this goes hand in hand with understanding what heals they have. You basically just keep track of what they have, what they're healing with. If you can monitor all of those during a fight, you have a lot more success in actual wagers. Especially if you know that you've got more heals than your opponent, you can just keep going for trades over and over. Now the last tip, especially when you're playing for money, is to have patience. Try to get all of your heals off before you actually W-key your opponent. Try to make them come onto you and aggro you so you can wait for a mistake. And don't feel yourself forced to go for some flashy high ground retake like this. Instead, you can just simply sit in a 2x1 and wait for them. You can chop out repeatedly with your AR. You can waste their mats. You can even go for little cheeky trade shots. But make sure that you don't rush into your opponent and try to finish the fight with build fighting as often as possible. If your opponent doesn't come down, the best thing that I found was doing is basically just playing really patient, chop them out over and over, and making them frustrated into making a mistake. Let's say your opponent's playing like this and playing some weird angles, just wait for them and make them come down to your wall and then make a mistake and go for a box up from there. So how much do we actually go ahead and profit while playing these 5 hours of solo rematch wagers? So on average, the wagers that we were doing were about 50 cents, and we did 25 of these throughout. We had about a 66% win loss, which really isn't too crazy. That's about just above 0.5% on the actual win loss. So we were losing a lot of money as we were going through. If you play these wagers with a lot more patience than I did, you'll definitely have a higher win loss and you'll make a lot more per hour of playing. I ended up profiting from the $5 that we invested at the start to get into this. I ended up profiting $9.39, which really isn't too bad considering the fact that we were playing these for fun. We weren't really trying too hard. And also the fact that we got so much valuable fighting practice versus really good top tier players, some FNCS qualifiers in here as well that do these wagers, and we're practicing our fighting ability. In my opinion, if you actually want to go ahead and improve your fighting ability to the maximum, your aim, your piece control, these are probably one of the best ways to do it. If you're interested in actually checking out the sponsor for this video, which is Rematch, go ahead and click the first link in the description. This is the site that I was using. It's 100% safe. You won't get scammed at all. And it's also not TOS or anything like that, just because they do all of the PayPal and everything like that. So it's nothing to do with you. They're just a third-party site. I'd highly recommend you check out the first link in the description. You get a 10% bonus whenever you sign up, and you can also go ahead and make an account and start wagering today. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and actually could learn a lot about how to wager and a couple different tips for improving at wagers. And I'd highly recommend that you go ahead and check out the links in the description as well.